So hello guys, so in this tutorial I'll be talking about Lambda functions in Python. So Lambda is actually a very small anonymous one-line function and it is defined without a name. So it is actually comparatively a very small function, usually one line. So the syntax is actually lambda, the keyword lambda, and then the arguments and then an expression. Let's show you an example. So uh, I'll declare a function or I'll declare a name or a variable here called add10 and I'll say lambda x plus 10. So this is a small lambda function that can actually add 10 with a given number. So here the argument is x, and so let's run this function. So I can say print add 10 of, and we have to specify x here, so I'll say 5 here, and let's print this. If I run the program, you can see that I get 15 here. So yeah, 5 plus 10 is actually is equal to 15. So this is a lambda function, it's only one line, but a normal function similar to this would be, so I'll say diff add, I can say just add here, and I'll say, so I have to specify the arguments inside this, and then I'll have to say x is equal to x plus 10, and I just have to return x. So now if I say print add of 5, and if I run the program, you can see both of them are printing out similar results. So what do we use it for? So actually lambda functions are very simple, and it is used when we only want it maybe once in a code, once in our entire program, or it is also used to specify as an argument to other functions such as filter, sorted, and reduce. So we'll be discussing about this filter, sorted, and reduce functions. But before that, if you just want to change this addition to multiplication, let's see what we can do. So to change this, you simply have to say, we have to declare two variables here. This is actually going to be a function that can multiply two numbers. So I'll just change sum of it, and then I have to say x multiplied by y. So if I just remove this function, we don't need this or this, and now we have to specify two arguments inside. So I'll say 5 and 10, and if I run the program, you can see that 5 into 10, 50 has been printed. So yeah, we can actually do multiplication as well. So now let's take a look at the three functions that I mentioned before, that is the sorted, filter, and the reduce function. So let's discuss about the sorted functions. So sorted function, as the name suggests, it is actually to sort a list. We can even actually specify a set of rules by which we actually want to sort this list. So let's declare a variable here or a list here. I'll call it point 2D. So we'll have some 2D points, two-dimensional x and y axis points here. So we are going to declare some tuples inside this list, 1 2 15 1. This can be whatever you want. This is actually just random. 5 1, 5 minus 1, 10 4. So now to simply sort this, you can actually say, we can actually declare a variable called s, and we can say sorted, and then we say point 2D. And now if I just print this s variable, and if I just run the program, you can see that this thing has been sorted. So now it is actually sorted based on the x-axis. So 1 comes first and then 5. So yeah, it is actually sorted based on the x-axis. The smaller x-axis come first and the larger x-axis go behind. So yeah, that is how we actually sort it by default, but you can also specify some rules to sort it using the lambda function. So you have to specify another argument here called key, and now inside this we should have a lambda function. uh, let's say lambda x of 1. So now what we are saying here is we just have to sort it by x of 1. The one here is the index, so we just need to sort it on the y-axis or the y-index or the second index. So we say 1 here. So now if I run the program, this will actually be sorted on the basis of the y-axis. Now you can do the same thing using a normal function. So I can say maybe define sort by y, and we can actually specify an argument. The x here is just a variable, it can be whatever you want. So we say return x of 1. So yeah, so now we have to specify the key here, so we can specify the function. So I'll say sort by y without the braces. Now if I just run the program, you can see that it has also been sorted the same way. So we can use the lambda functions instead of this, because we actually have to reduce the number of codes we write. So lambda function can do this with a single line, so we can actually save or reduce the complexity of the code. So here we can also sort by the sum of both of this. So for example, this is 3 here, this is 16 here, so we can actually sort by that method as well using the lambda. So we can actually remove this function, so we just remove this as well. So now we have to write a lambda function to actually sort it on the basis of this addition values or by adding these two. So we say key is equal to lambda of x and x of 0 plus x of 1. So yeah, it is actually sorting using the sorted method, and this is just the rule. These are just the rules on how to actually sort it. So we say add both of them and sort it that way. So the smaller elements come first. So if I just run the program, we can see this has come first because this is probably the smallest, because 1 plus 2 is 3 and everything else looks greater than that. So this is about the sorted method in Python. So I just wanted to show you how to use lambda with sorted. So now we also have to take a look at the map function. So map is actually used to apply a function to a sequence of numbers or a group of numbers. So for example, I have a list here with some items or with some numbers inside. So let me declare another variable here and apply map. So let me say map, and we have to declare the function that we have to actually apply to this entire list. So we'll say lambda x. So we are declaring a function that is actually going to multiply 2 with every item in this list. So I'll say x multiplied by 2, and this is actually the item or the item that we actually want to apply this function to. So now if I just print b, this will be a map object. For example, if I run this is actually a map object. So to actually get the correct output, we have to convert it into a list. So I'll say list. Now if I print it, we can see that 2 has been multiplied with every element or each and every element inside this thing. So this is how the map function works. So we can also do this in a similar way using list comprehension. So we have to say C is equal to X multiplied by 2 for X in A. So A is the list here. So now if I print C, and if I print this as well, now if I run the program, you can see both of them have the same result. So we can do this similarly using list comprehension method. This is the most preferred method, but you have to know how to actually use the map function and lambda inside it. So that's about map function. Now let's take a look at the filter function in Python. Now let's discuss about the filter function in Python. So filter function is actually used to filter a list or a sequence of numbers based on a function. So I have a list here with some numbers. So now let me say b is equal to filter lambda x. So we are going to filter all the even numbers inside this. So we'll say x modulus q should be equal to 0, and we are going to pass the function that we need to apply this to. Now if I print b out and if I run the program, we can see this is actually a filter object. We have to actually convert this into a list, so we'll have to say list. Now if I run this, we get filtered out all the even numbers. So this is how we actually filter things out using Python. So the same thing can be achieved using list comprehension as well. So we can say C is equal to X for X in A if X modulus Q is equal to 0. Now if I print both A, B and C, and if I run the program, you can see both of them are outputting the same result. The same thing can actually be achieved with list comprehension, but we are here to take a look at the filter method. This is how we filter a sequence of number using a function, a lambda function inside. So now let's take a look at the reduce method. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be taking a look at the reduce function in Python. So reduce function takes in a function and a sequence, and then it repeatedly applies the function to the elements and it returns a single value. So say I have a list here like a 1 2 3 and 4. Let's declare a variable. Okay, let's declare a variable called product, prod, short form for product, and we'll say reduce of lambda x. So now we have to import reduce here. So we have to say from function tool import reduce, and this will actually import reduce. We have to import it. Now let's calculate the product. We'll say lambda of x and y. We'll have to calculate the product of two numbers, and we'll say x asterisk of y, and we'll have to pass the list, which is a in this case. So if I just print the product out and if I run the program, we can see this has actually printed the product. So we'll say 1 into 2 is 2, 2 into 3 6, and 6 into 4 is actually 24, and it has actually printed out the product of this list. So that's everything about lambda functions in Python. So we have additionally learned about reduce method, map method, and filter method. So that's it about lambda functions.